Calling on a 509 area code. Who's this?
Hey, Sam, this is Ronald Reagan.
Ronald Reagan. What's on your mind, buddy?
Hey, I got a couple of questions for you. First, so Trump is going to win the nomination for the Republican Party. That's kind of a big deal. But I think he kind of stumbled into it. I think that all along he's just been shooting from the hip and just saying whatever comes to his head, and it's by luck that he's gotten here. But is there a chance that maybe he's actually, like, he knows his base and he's been making savvy decisions this whole time? And it's not that interesting to psychoanalyze these people, but
well, I think,
what are your thoughts
I think,
Trump?
Look, here's the thing. I think he's been making fairly savvy decisions, but if I was aware of who the conservative base was, there's no reason that Trump wouldn't be aware of it, because all he was anyways was like a Sarah Palin figure, right? I mean, here's a guy who's getting all the feedback. When he goes on TV a couple of years ago and talks about President Obama being when Trump was like a birther in chief, more or less, he's getting all this feedback.
Right.
Okay. I mean, he's living in this world. He's like sort of like a Ted Nugent, Sarah Palin figure. And he just ran on that.
Right.
And that is, I think, the plurality of the Republican Party. He was also lucky enough to run against some very weak candidates who just sort of like a media that kept saying he's not going to win. I mean, because what happened was, as far as I can tell, is anybody who would have been in a position to stop him, any funders who would have given money towards it, any campaign that would have picked up the banner, was looking over at Nate Silver's website. Honestly, I honestly believe this is the way it works, and saying like, this is going to fold. I mean, look what Nate Silver says. And whatever. Maybe it wasn't Nate Silver per se. Maybe it's Eric Erickson saying this guy can never win. I mean, whatever their signifiers were telling them. And that was really more, either denial or delusion on some level. I mean, I don't know that I thought that Trump would win, but it was quite clear to me from day one he was going to be a serious contender. And it never occurred to me that nobody else would believe that in the Republican race. And that's what happened. And I don't, and so I think he's very savvy about selling himself to the conservative base in this country. And fortunately for all of us, they are not the majority of this country.
One last question. How do you think that this outrage, so it seems like sort of faux outrage about his comments on the judge is being manufactured? Because this seems like barely more racist than the birther thing, and like equally racist
as anything else he said.
As racist.
But now he's the nominee. Now everybody has tied themselves to him in an official capacity. And so they all have to try and distance themselves. That's what I'm saying. Like, they all put the tire on, and they just assume this is not going to, no one's going to light this on fire. What's that smell? And that's what's happening. They're smelling it now. They're smelling it. The toxic fume is filling up around them. I mean, honestly, like, when you look at like Paul Ryan and all these other people and like Newt Gingrich, you're looking at drowning people. You're looking at like stage one of someone drowning.
Do you think that it seems like it went from high probability of shenanigans at the convention to, oh no, everyone's on board. It's feeling more like there could be shenanigans now.
Give it a couple of weeks. Give it a couple of weeks. The capacity, the capacity for the U.S. media to forgive these things, to make sure that there's still a race, is very high. And the capacity for Republicans to forget this stuff in 3 days, if it looks like they're going to survive it, is infinite. I don't think it's measurable.
Right. Hey,
I would just like to add that Cambodians will not be fair judges for him as well. And the Hmong people. They're not fair.
Look, speaking of fair judge, hello, you. I'm Sam Seder. Looking for smart progressive talk that is occasionally amusing? Well, subscribe to our YouTube feed. Subscribe to our podcast. Like us on Facebook. And just generally enjoy us.